Hey, what's up, y'all, and welcome to episode 107 of the Take One podcast. I am your host, August C. Jones, and we got a few things to talk about on this podcast. If you haven't checked out episodes 105 and 106, I dropped earlier this week when I'm covering the new teaser trailers for Toy Story 4 and Birds of Prey. I'm covering the box office, and I'm doing like a couple movie reviews on The Possession of Hannah Grace in this movie that came out last week. It's like a Fathom Events film called The Final Wish. And then episode 106 is me talking about the Oscar nominations and my thoughts on them and everything else. So you get my full thoughts on who I think will take it, my picks and everything else. But with that out the way, we got some stuff to cover when basically some news came out about the walls of DC, as I like to call them, until they change my mind on something different. That's when I'm going to continue calling them. I don't care if Shazam does $1 billion. It's still going to be called the walls of DC. And then I'm going to do some movie reviews to end off today's podcast. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into everything with movie news. And so the wall of DC has added 2 new things to the wall. Let's see if they come into fruition, but I figured that they're worth talking about. The first thing is Matt Reeves' Batman, who has been put on the project after Ben Affleck left, and it was kind of like in the air whether he was going to be even if he was just going to be Batman and stuff like that. And now we've got our word on just the future of everything. So we already know that Matt Reeves has been on the project. I think, what has it been like? I know it's been over a year. I want to say maybe 2 years. Like a lot of times these bits of news linger for so long that it seemed like it just came out recently. But I don't know. It probably could have been 2 years because time flies by fast. But in any case, Matt Reeves talks about the Batman, and so upon getting this news, Affleck has came out and Deadline has reported that Affleck is no longer attached to being Batman. He will not don the cape again. So all the optimistic thoughts that myself and other people have had, and all the faith that we've had that Ben Affleck may end up coming back, he is no longer attached to the Batman name and everything else. He's not going to have anything to do with it in any capacity. And he came out with a tweet and about the story. He tweeted the story actually, and he in support. He gave good luck to whoever is the next person to don the cape or whatnot. It was very classy, unlike Leslie Jones, which I talked about in an earlier podcast about her comments towards the new Ghostbusters movie that was announced. That Ben Affleck actually gave praise to what they're doing now, and to show this is how you handle something like that. I mean, regardless of the fact that how you feel or whatever the hell, of course it's 2 different situations, but still in the same sense, there's a level of, class that you need to deliver as well, as being a public figure. And a person that a lot of people may look up to, get inspiration off of you and all that stuff. But in any case, so it seems like they're trying to cast younger. So I'm not entirely sure if it's going to be connected to the BVU, which is the BVS universe or whatnot. And I don't know, because they did state before that it was going to be different, kind of like the Joker movie that's coming out later on this year, that is not going to have any ties to Aquaman, Justice League, Man of Steel, or any of the movies, Shazam, Wonder Woman, or anything like that, or even the Birds of Prey movie, that it was just going to be its own thing. And that's what it's really kind of looking like, which I don't have any problem with it, especially if the Joker movie is really good. I don't have a problem with it at all. It has been stated before, but he has confirmed it. Matt Reeves said that it will be a noir style type of movie, which is something that we haven't really seen in Batman, especially the recent Batman incarnation with Ben Affleck. Him actually being a detective and figuring out and gathering clues to try and solve a murder or a case or whatever the heck. So it's going to go towards that style. I believe at one point or am I like, I think I'm thinking about the Joker movie, but I'm pretty sure that I heard it was going to take place back in like, you know, some years back in like 80s or something like that. I'm probably thinking about the Joker movie, but I mean, this gives, I don't know, you know what? I don't really have too much, of a thought to it because this is something that we've never seen Batman do before. They've touched on it in the other movies, the Nolan movies, and a little bit up in the, Tim Burton movies, up in the 90s or whatever. But as far as it being like a straight movie that's like this, I don't have a problem with it. But it just shows me that it's going to be more grounded, that they're not going to go spectacular with it. It's going to be more kind of like the Nolan approach, where it's going to be truly based in reality, which I don't know, because like they haven't really gave too much more information on it or anything. But he has came out and said that the Batman really is a temporary title, that it may end up changing. And I mean, the Batman is a perfect title, but it probably might be the Batman such and such, whatever. It might have a subtitle under it. And then he said that there's going to be multiple villains up in there, which is probably going to be a main villain, and then, little kind of like henchman type villain characters up in there, which I don't have a problem with. And then they also set a date for it, which is June 25th, 2021. And they're gonna try to, I believe, start shooting maybe this year, toward the end of it, if not next year, to go for a thing. I mean, if they start shooting this year, I mean, they could, because Wonder Woman is already, they already been shooting it ever since last year, and that movie doesn't come out until next year. So, I mean, it's possible that they can start shooting this year just to get that time, frame, a little bit more time to work on it, just in case they need that time to make it as good of a Batman movie as they need to. And like I said before, it's more than likely going to be a standalone movie that is not going to have any connections to the BVS universe, which I don't have a problem with it as long as the movie is good and DC shows that they know what they're doing and they have like a guide plan and a vision for where they want it to take it. And as long as they do it well, I don't have a problem with it. But I'm going to still call it the Walls of DC until they change my mind. But with this news, I truly don't have a problem with it. If it comes to fruition, we don't know. They've been talking about this movie and a lot of other things for like the longest, for years. And a lot of that has not materialized because of just disputes behind the scenes, whether it's directors, actors, the script writers, and just whatever. But also thrown on the walls of DC is Suicide Squad 2, or is it? So we had got reports earlier, at a point in time last year, that possibly the Suicide Squad 2 movie that was supposed to come out is more than likely a reboot, a retelling of it, which kind of don't make any sense, but hey, we're going to go along with it. It may not come to fruition, but it hasn't been confirmed whether it's, whatever, but it's heavily implied. And they did set a release date for it. It is going to drop August 6th, 2021, within the same year that we're going to get the Batman or whatnot. And, I mean, I don't know. They gave it a new name. They said the new title more than likely is, I don't know, maybe it's not going to be the real title. Maybe it's going to be a part 2. But they're going to call it The Suicide Squad, as in, the other movie was just called Suicide Squad. This one's going to be called The Suicide Squad, giving more credence to it being a possible remake, or, not remake, but reboot of the title and everything else. And I don't know. And a recent, version of the movie was penned by James Gunn after being released from Disney because of his tweets and stuff. So he has some involvement with it, with the project and how it's going along, but it's not really like anything set in stone truly, as far as, I'm pretty sure that they're going to use whatever he gave, but they're going to tweak it a little bit, so he's not going to have a heavy involvement within the movie. And really, there's no other details that have been provided for this. But I mean, to me, I think that it is a really bad idea to reboot it. As much as anybody can tell you, as much as I hate the last Suicide Squad movie, I feel like a part two done better would be better for what they're trying to do with the DCU. So to come out with that Suicide Squad movie and then to reboot it with totally different characters and stuff, it's like, why? Why would you do that? So what is that? Is that just gonna be it? And then it's like, how many Elseworlds titles are you gonna have? Are you gonna continue having the storyline from the BVS universe with, Aquaman, and then now Shazam, and then Wonder Woman, Birds of Prey, and then you're gonna have all these? It's just, I don't know. It's just too much to juggle. And the thing is, I know a lot of people, a lot of podcasters and reviewers probably won't have a problem with it. They probably praise it. But, a lot of times what may work in the comic books may not work on the screen. And we didn't got that through just how movies come out and everything else. I guess it's more of like how you present it and how you work on it and execution and everything else. But a lot of times you may confuse a lot of people. If you have a Suicide Squad movie that came out before, and then you're coming out with another one that has a totally new cast, but still you're continuing that storyline that, though that the original Suicide Squad movie is in, but then you have another one that's like a reboot. Do you continue the other one? And then you're going to have like two variations of the, Suicide Squad movie out in the universe, so I mean, it's just confusing. Like, I feel like they don't need to do a reboot. The only way that they need to do a reboot is if they're scrapping everything, and I mean everything, which they're not gonna do, because Shazam is already in the can. Wonder Woman is already being shot with Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, and it's like there's no way that they're gonna do that. But I feel like they should just continue it, have a Suicide Squad 2, or just, keep it, the Suicide Squad, but just make it the sequel, I mean, you have a later movie in the franchise of Predator called The Predator that came out last year. So why couldn't just, Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad, make it more formidable, put different characters up in there that matter, and that way it's like, kind of like the makes it official. I don't know. But I feel like it's a bad idea if it's a reboot. But that's just to add to the thing. So, as of right now, the slate for, the walls of DC is Shazam coming out April 5th this year, as well as The Joker is coming out in October on the 10th of this year. Birds of Prey next year is coming out in February, on February 7th, 2020. Wonder Woman 1984 is coming out June 5th, 2020. And then we got the two new additions, which is The Batman, which is coming out June 25th, 2021. And then The Suicide Squad, August 6th, 2021. So that's the whole slate that we have of the wall of DC as of current. And will this change as far as the last two entries into it? I don't know. I truly don't know. Hopefully everything works out and they can change my mind. But as of right now, this is just my thoughts. Just how I feel. And take it or leave it. You may agree with me. You may not. I don't care. These are my thoughts and you can suck it. No, I'm just playing. But in any case, that will do with everything else I needed to get into as far as like movie news. Let's go ahead and jump right into some of the movie reviews. Now, I'm going to talk about a few movies. Two of them which I've seen recently. One of the first movies that I'm going to talk about is Serenity. Now, Serenity is a movie that really didn't have too much hype behind it, too much marketing, and rightfully so. In seeing it, I could see why. But, I mean, I didn't hate it like a lot of people did. This is a movie that's featuring Anne Hathaway, Jason Clarke, and Matthew McConaughey, who is the lead role. And it's just about Anne Hathaway. She finds Matthew McConaughey, which they are ex-husband and wife, and she is trying to hire him to kill her current husband, who is abusive. And so he has to make the decision on whether or not he wants to go through with it with a lot of money on the line. And going into this movie, I heard something that I didn't want to hear before I saw it. I heard that it was a twist. And I was like, and me in saying this, I guess you could say is, I don't know, maybe I'm doing the same thing that was done to me. But in saying the twist really isn't saying too much about it. It's not giving a spoiler, but I would have rather went into this movie without knowing that, because I didn't know that at first before I saw it. But this movie did do a lot of things that I did like it. I'm going to get to the twist, but it did do a lot of things that I did like. The acting was actually pretty good. Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway and Jason Clarke are all good, great actors. Great actors. Matthew McConaughey, he does lead it good as fuck. He is he plays the part well. I don't know, just following him. I mean, he doesn't have too much to his character. He's not super charismatic, but just in a way that he, works his role and everything that he does, he is a very interesting character, whatnot, to follow. The concept of it is simple enough. It's simple enough, and it's actually, just something that grabbed me. A wife is getting beat on, so she calls upon her ex-husband to do the deed, and it's that right there shows that will have a lot of conflict in it, because that's your ex. She's asking you for help, and y'all may not have the best relationship, so it's like you gotta think like, damn, do I really want to help her out? We're not on the best terms, but then she's offering this money, so that's conflict in it right there. So the concept of it really did grab me, and then on top of that, it looked like it was gonna be a good movie. It's just the lack of marketing that followed it wasn't appetizing. This movie was dramatic. It did have its dramatic points as well as an emotional points. And it has a point in the movie where it has to do with a father-son relationship. And I guess that kind of got me because of my son. And I kind of thought, if I was in the same position, it's just, I don't know, it kind of got me in the field. And I guess that's why I kind of gravitated to it a little bit more than what another person would have, but I did kind of like the aspect of it. Like I said, one of the things that I guess you could count as a negative was the twist. The twist, I didn't hate it like a lot of people probably did. It's just, it affected the movie from when you find it out, because it's not one of those twists that you find out at the end of the movie. It's a twist that you find out kind of toward the end, kind of like in the second act. So it affects the rest of the movie and how everybody, is, how everybody acts and everything else. And it kind of takes you out of the movie from that point on. And the twist itself is kind of weak. I just want to say, I didn't hate it, but I can acknowledge that it was not a good twist. It was not, it could have been better. I felt like if it was just a straight type movie where it's just an ex is calling another ex to kill her current husband, then that would have been a great, movie. That's a great concept. It's simple as hell to go into, but I thought without, the twist that it had, it probably would have been a better movie. But that twist just kind of takes it down. And it was like, once you kind of figure it out, once it kind of shows itself, it's like, oh my gosh, okay, yeah, I don't know. But and still, it has a lot of potential in it. And I would say it's worth skipping. It's worth skipping. It's worth checking out on, Netflix, or when it comes to DVD or Blu-ray or whatever, or, just for rent. But it's not really worth checking out in the movie theater. So this is a movie that you can skip. I'll give this movie a 6. And yeah. The next movie on the list that I'm going to get into is A Dog's Way Home. Now, this was the movie that my son told me that he wanted to see. This is a movie I probably would have ended up skipping, but I heard so much about it, from other podcasters and reviewers about just how good it was, surprisingly good it was. And then my son wanted to see it, so I'm like, hey, what the hell? Let me go check this movie out. And I ended up seeing it, and I was shocked at how much I really did like this movie. The movie is just about this guy ends up finding this dog and basically just adopting the dog, and they grow together, and at one point he has to get rid of the dog because of some conflict within the state and owning, the type of dog that she is. And she ends up basically escaping and trying to find her way back home to her master. And it's just following the journey of this dog through all this stuff. And that's one of the things. It's like it's narrated through this dog, through her eyes. I believe the voice is done by Bryce Dallas Howard, which is actually incredible. She did a great job. And it's just showing like the naive like personality of the dog, don't know what things is, and kind of like get a mistaken or misunderstanding of what things actually are. And it worked for the story and for like the character of the dog, and man, it was good. And in saying that, it does follow the narration of the dog. It just, everything is POV from the dog. I mean, you don't see it through the dog's eyes, but you follow the dog. So everything else, like, you don't know anything else outside of what the dog knows. So that's one of the things that I did think, that was pretty cool that I liked about it. But it has its negative sides, which I'm going to get to in a little bit. But, you don't hear what other animals are thinking because, it's just all about this dog. And it has some funny parts to it, which I was surprised. I'm like, man, I found myself kind of like laughing and, smiling. Like, this is actually kind of like, this is a cute movie. This is a good, family, type of film that, you could take your kids to go see. And it was heartfelt. It was very heartfelt and dramatic with a lot of the parts. You kind of feel for the dog as she goes through her journey and everything else. And I was digging it. I really was. I wasn't mad that I went to go see this. But in any case, I can say the only thing that I didn't like about this movie, which is not a big thing, with the whole scope of just how I felt about the movie, was that you do follow everything through the dog's eyes, but it comes to the point in time where you want to see what other people are doing. Like, what is her family, her owners doing without her, because at a point in time where she runs away, but then it's like, how do they react? I wanted to see that. I wanted to see how her owners were coping with, her running away and possibly never seeing her again. And that, I felt like that probably would have been a little bit better. And going into this movie, I thought it was going to be a back and forth. I thought it was going to be like her journey, how they're dealing with it, and going back and forth and everything else. But it's really just about her. And it's at a point where it's like, yeah, you care about her, but, you don't really care too much for the, the characters, her owners, or anything of that nature. So, I mean, you could deduct like a point or two or whatever from that, but it doesn't take away from just the movie itself. And that was like just really the only bad thing that I didn't like about it. But this movie is totally worth your money. Just totally worth your money. And it's worth a second viewing. Like, I would seriously watch this movie again. I'm not going to go to the movies or, like, you want to go see A Dog's Way Home again? I'm going to say it to my son. But if I had the chance to see it again, I would go see it again in theaters. This movie was really, really, really good. And if you are looking for a movie to take your kids to go see, and, this is up there, surely check it out. I'm pretty sure that you'll like it, and I'm pretty sure that your kids will like it. I give this movie an 8 because it really, really surprised me. And hey, that's all I can ask for. And so the last movie on the list that I am going to review is Bandersnatch. Bandersnatch is a intuitive kind of movie that was released on Netflix last month. And what it is a role-playing type of movie. It gives you the option to make decisions for the main character to move the narrative of the story. And they give you different options. Once you get to a certain point of the movie, you get like do you want to do this or do you want to do that? And you get enough time to try and like make your decision, and then you'll pick it. And whatever you pick, you get sent on a different path, and then you get to explore the different, pathways that you could possibly take in making decisions. It's kind of like a day-to-day thing that you would normally do in your life. And like if you come to a thing of whether you want to go jogging this morning or whether you want to sleep in, and that would affect how your day is going to go. And it starts off with like little simple stuff like picking which cereal you want to eat, picking which tape you want to throw up in your in the character's tape player. And then as it gets further along, you start having to make harder decisions, stuff that impacts a person's life, life or death type of situations. And it's like your journey through trying to navigate this person's life and trying to find the right ending for them that, is the best ending, I guess you could say, for them. It's kind of hard because it's like, damn, I got this person's life in my hands, even though it's not that dire because it's just a movie or whatever. And it's kind of like, it's weird because like I could feel like a person, if you are a heavy gamer and you like those type of games where you get to make decisions for the characters that push the story along, you're going to end up liking this. And the thing about it is that if you make a certain decision that ends up into the main character's death, then you get to go back at a certain point and do another one, and so you get to see different endings all through it. And it was done really creatively. I mean, it's like, I don't know, like, I feel like this is something that they're probably going to do a lot more often. More than likely, they probably get another one in the books for it. And it was actually creative, and I really did enjoy it. I didn't see every single ending. It's certain endings that I looked up and people were talking about this like, I didn't see that ending, but I saw that ending and all that stuff. So play around with it. You probably get a whole bunch of different endings, and they probably have it on YouTube where if you make these certain decisions, then you'll get this ending or that ending and blah, blah, blah. But it was actually pretty cool, and I really did enjoy it. I'll say I give it an 8. It is my first introduction to the Black Mirror universe, which I haven't started watching yet. But I hear a lot about the series and stuff. But it's on Netflix, so I'm eventually get caught up or whatnot. But yeah, this is my first introduction into it, and I'm really curious to see all the other stuff that the Black Mirror universe has in store. But if you haven't watched or played and interacted with Bandersnatch, I say give it a try and see what you can do with it. And so with that ends this podcast and all the movie reviews that I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'm probably going to put out another podcast tomorrow. I don't know. Really haven't had any major movie news or anything drop lately for me to talk about. But in any case, that ends this episode 107. Thank you guys for joining me. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace out. Hey, before you guys leave, make sure you hit that like button as well as that subscribe button. And you see that little bell? Make sure you hit that to turn on your notifications. That way you'll be notified for anything that appears on my channel. Hope to see you guys next time. Peace out.